This is your girl, Miss Sophia the Diva. Be sure to thumbs up this video. If this is your first time here and you haven't subscribed, be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel. We tend to talk about everything from reality TV to politics to pop culture, so be sure to subscribe. So people have been hitting me up in my inbox, talking to me and asking me, was I going to discuss Real Housewives of Atlanta Part 1? Okay. This is the calm before the storm. Okay, let's be real about that, because this particular episode really wasn't giving us a whole lot. It just was dry and it was kind of calm. There were little Kit Kat fights, knickknacks there, but we gonna make it do what it do. So first of all, the ladies are getting ready. What the hell? Was it that cold in Atlanta where Sheree needed a damn chinchilla? Talking about, do we just put our fur on the floor? Girl, is that even a real fur? Did they come out that basement? Did you find that buried up under Chateau Sheree? Let's see. Andy said something to Candy about sex dungeons, and Candy gave him this side out like, Andy, don't try me, not today, okay? Candy feels as though she is sitting in the hot seat, okay, because she's sitting next to Andy, and she said usually that's the one who has had the most drama in the season. And I'm like, well, if that's the case, I guess usually if it's not Nene sitting on the side of Andy, it tends to be Phaedra. Okay, so you two both have had the most drama, if you ask me, aside from these daggone houses that these women are so concerned. Really, it's more so Sheree that's concerned about a look that she's trying to present to the world when she's struggling to pay for it. Why be stressed out over it, okay? I thought that even though I don't like Kenya, I thought her look was cute. I loved her wig. It was awesome. I'm surprised she was wearing one, considering that during the pop-up shop, she was talking bad about people who wear wigs and weaves, since she all about natural hair care. Some people didn't like Cynthia's look, but I loved it. I loved the entire look. You know, I'm from Texas. I'm an Ebby Holiday girl. We like big hair, don't care, okay? I thought Phaedra was cute. Her hair was very simple. I thought Candy's look was cute, but I didn't care too much for the jumpsuit. I didn't care too much for that, but her makeup and her hair, it was a simple, clean look. I loved it. Porsha was cute. I wasn't really digging the short hair. I personally don't dig the short hair on Porsha, and Andy know he dead to the bed wrong for telling that girl that, oh, your hair looked like Candy Burris from season 2. Well, damn. She told me, how about Halle Berry? Okay, I was like, girl, I don't know about Halle Berry, but I don't care for the look. Her dress was cute. Sheree, there's not much I can say about Sheree. Her hair was cute and her makeup was cute, but the dress, she could have given us a little bit more. Somebody said today, I was listening to one of the reviews, somebody said she was just giving us prom dress tease. I said, somebody's prom dress. I said, Lord, not from down to the Plato's closet, Jesus. So Andy started off the dialogue with health and wellness. We talking about these people that had sugar scrubs together, breast analysis together, vaginal rejuvenation together. I mean, they just been through it all. I'm still trying to figure out why Andy would even fix his mouth to ask Cynthia why she would invite the women down to look at her breast. I'm like, what else is she going to talk about? Her and Peter are done. Her bank accounts are refilling. The Bailey agency is back on the mend, I guess. They had a brick and mortar rental or WeWork station. I don't know. But I'm like, you know, y'all had her set that breast exam up. Candy ducking and dodging questions. She would not be a good witness to have on direct examination. Because Andy said, you know, during examination, you said that there were like 4 people in this group that had all had some work done. So we knew that Porsha had it, Cynthia had it, you hadn't. And Phaedra was like, well, I had a breast lift, but I'm like, that's kind of a little different because you don't have foreign matter in your body. I think they just take fat from one place and lift it up and plump it up from other parts of your body. But I think Kenya has, and I was trying to find some pictures and look back on her Miss America days, but I think Miss Kenya done had some work, and she can sit up there and lie, because if y'all watched the reunion, she lied the entire time and couldn't even keep a lie straight. Okay, she don't even remember having half the shit she say, okay? So Candy was like, well, I'm part of the club now. But she said, well, Andy asked her, well, when you were saying it, were you referring to Phaedra or Kenya? She was like, well, whichever one. I'm like, it's a yes or no. Is it Kenya or is it Phaedra? Come on, Candy. Don't backpedal. Don't backpedal on us. Just give us the real. I really, throughout this season, as a matter of fact, this particular comment was featured in the social edition of Real Housewives of Atlanta. I tweeted like, Phaedra, please, camel toe is not in. What is your fixation with camel toe? Phaedra is not lying. One of my friends inboxed me. Someone is selling camel toe. So if you feel like you want your tight game and leggings to be taken to the next level, or your skinny jeans or jeggings or whatever the hell it is you want to fit to make us think that you might be one day away from a yeast infection, feel free. But camel toe is not cute. Don't nobody want to see camel toe, moose knuckle, deer hoof, none of that. I don't want to see a damn eggplant, okay? That don't turn me on. You might look like you got the equipment, but what can you do with it, boo-boo, okay? That's what I'm saying. So eggplant Tuesday, Wednesday, I don't know if that stuff real, and even if it is real, you might not have no stroke value, boo-boo. You might not have no stroke value. We gonna talk about battles of the home briefly. Don't mess with Kenya. I believe it too, because her daddy lives in Texas, honey. She probably do know how to pop a pistol. Hell, I do too. So don't come over here fucking with me either, okay? Because allegedly these intruders were trying to come into her house. I personally believe Kenya staged it because she's desperate. Kenya claims, apparently, because she said she drive up and down through there all day. I was like, so you stalking Sheree? She claims that Sheree doesn't live in her house. Word on the street in general in Atlanta is that Sheree's house does not have a certificate of occupancy anyways. So I don't know. Maybe Sheree sneaking and living in there. Maybe she's squatting in her own house. I don't know. I really don't care. God bless her. I hope she's happy, but she's still not happy because she's sitting up there talking about, I let all the haters see my house. First of all, you need to let all the contractors see a check, okay? And so Andy said the same thing I said, talking about you Donald Trump and these people. And I was like, that's exactly what Donald Trump does. When he don't feel like paying, he files bankruptcy and take that shit to bankruptcy. Trump up some fake ass receipts talking about what he can and cannot pay and be done. And Sheree said everybody paid. She accuses Kenya of not providing a porta potty. Kenya talking about there was an oversight for her workers on site. Kenya said the only reason that Kim came for her during the housewarming is because Kim need a check. Trust me, boo-boo, Kim is not suffering. You the one that ain't got no husband, and you got to go up in that Castle Grayskull looking dilapidated shack, because if a good tornado come through there, it's just going to knock your modern home right on over. Kenya did admit to this though. She said she was being shady when she was creeping around Sheree's house, going in the basement. Candy said she just thought it was funny. She was like, I don't want them to come for me either because I was in the basement too. I said, but let's just be real. Kim and Kenya had to get it in, okay, because we reintroducing her. But, Kenya's just a miserable individual, and I'm just not really here for her. So a lot of what I say about Kenya is going to be biased and mean girlish sounding. So if you are Team Twirl, Team whatever, Team Kenya, I'm sorry. This is not the YouTube channel for you to be watching, okay? Sheree was talking about how the house, when people walked in, she wanted their mouth to drop. And Kenya made the statement that her mouth dropped when she saw the fake marble on the floor. And I'm like, okay, so, and Sheree just kind of looked like whatever. Kenya claims she doesn't have trim around her house because it's a modern home. She said, but at least I had 2 kitchens finished by the time you got there. And Sheree was like, well, 2 of your houses can fit in my basement. No, the basement isn't finished. But I'm like, again, who always has their basement finished? If you go to some people's houses, especially up north, you're going to see where half the basement might be finished and the other half might be an entertainment room. I mean, it is what it is. It's not that big a deal, people, for those of you not familiar with living in places that have basements. Usually basements are storages just like garages. Andy got on the similarities of the fixtures and the beds. And Sheree was like, well, I might have the same fixtures as you, but your Swarovski crystal. And that's when Kenya said something that I was like, see there, you say that stuff and then you get mad when somebody say it to you. She told Sheree that she could say her lighting was made of solid gold, but I can pay for it solid gold, but bitch, I got to pay for it, and clearly you can't. And I was like, oh. Okay. So Sheree said, well, at least I didn't have a rich African make the down payment. Now, this is what I find interesting, because it's always been in the blogs that Kenya Moore messes around with Africans, not to mention she's one of those celebrity women, B-list or Z-list, that tends to spend a lot of time in Dubai entertaining the rich in Dubai. And if you catch it, Phaedra dropped that one too. But she would say, well, you must have me mixed up with Porsha because you sitting right next to Porsha. And that's when Porsha was like, let me tell you what I know. Let me tell you what I know in the African streets that I hang. Okay, boo-boo. She lied to dude and told him that she had wrecked her car. And so he wasn't going to give her the money to replace it. Because remember, that's how she got, what is it, that Bentley or that Rolls Royce that she be rolling around in from her African prince. So she said that she had wrecked it, and then when the truth came out, she finally admitted, well, I really needed the money for a down payment on my house. And she was like, y'all ain't gonna be sitting up here lying about me and my finances. How about my taxes? How about my taxes? And I'm like, well, where did that come from? Like, are you saying that Sheree can't pay her taxes? Porsha can't pay her taxes. I mean, what are you talking about, boo-boo? Hey, Millie. So I said, ooh, Porsha. Andy was like, well, how you know this, girl? It's like, Andy, I am an African queen. I am a Nubian queen. Okay, I know my African stuff. I was like, ooh, ooh. Phaedra is the peacemaker. We know that Phaedra kind of lives in two different worlds. She's the Southern Belle, but then she's also the Shade Queen too. Is that Christ-like? I don't know. But either way, oh, as an aside, right before I logged in and started doing this video, y'all, I don't watch the show, but I knew that they had a reality series, the Shears, Karen Clark Sheard and her family. Girl, her son Drew, like, he's sick of the church, he's sick of everything. He want to be worldly, get out there and sing that mainstream music. I was like, oh Lord, Karen Clark nearby had a heart attack. She was like clutching her pearls. I was like, boy, you better be glad your grandma ain't alive. Maddie Moss would get your little behind, okay? But I just had to plug that in because I was laughing, because I'm like, if you're not a preacher's kid or you ain't grew up in the church as like the deacon's kid or something like that, y'all will never know the struggle. You will never know the struggle of perfection and putting on airs and being perfect and wearing dresses down below your knee. Because I used to be that kid that liked to wear my dresses right above the knee. Not all the way up mid-thigh, just above the knee, okay? But anyway, let me get back on task. So everyone was commending her for her civil rights work in the Phaedra Foundation. You can tell that Porsha is still a bit salty about the fact that Kenya got to go to Michigan. But I'm just like, you can't be too mad at her, because let's be real, whether we want to admit to it or not, because she definitely is not a good representation of the African-American female. But Kenya Moore was in fact Miss USA. And she was Miss USA because she was Miss Michigan. So it made sense for her to go. I mean, and Porsha, if you wanted to go, I'm sure you could. Kenya, once again, was lying. She couldn't recall if she slept at the camp. And Phaedra was like, I thought you went back to the hotel. I'm like, either you slept there or you didn't. Yes or no. Again, Kenya and Candy, not two people that you want to have to handle up on cross-examination, because they don't know how to answer a simple yes or no question. Candy had to jump in at one point. Oh, they show Candy calling her Dr. Martin Luther Phaedra for trying to have that, what was it that they were trying to have that night? Shoot, I don't even remember. The Peacemaker Chardonnay brunch or whatever it was. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. Well, restoration service. That was it. And Andy asked Phaedra about her and Candy possibly being friends again. And here go Sister Faye, well, nothing is too hard for God. And, I'm just really optimistic that, maybe one day, we can be friends. And then that's when Candy got this look on face like, that's bullshit. And I was like, oh, that hurt. Like, that cut. I was like, oh, damn, Candy. And Candy Candy has like no fucks anymore. She's like, all bets are off. I don't care anymore. I'm just going to say what I feel. And right now I think it's bullshit. And she had that look on her face like, yeah, I said it. I'm getting my Nene on. I said what I said. And she was like, I said what I said. Okay, Phaedra. You know, she got to get the clenched teeth thing. She also said that she feels like Phaedra essentially is a hypocrite. She's two-faced. A viewer noted, as I also did at the time that I published my review, is that Sheree actually gave more money than Kenya. Kenya, here she goes. Well, you know, some people like gave more and wrote checks, and you know, I just, you know, I gave what I'm very charitable. I gave $20,000 to the Michigan public schools. I was like, that's probably because it came from the African. Maybe you got a little extra on top of that down payment you were trying to get from the African, but okay. Basically, how you gonna check me, boo, was a harder seller than your water-based products, okay? She really never answered the question. So Sheree was like, well, Andy, did she answer the question? And she kept going on about how she had sold a ton of things. I was like, really? Because I think you got shook after Marlo showed up and shook your table up a little bit. The divorce party, we get on that topic. And here's the thing with the whole thing, because I didn't do a review of that episode, I don't think. I think what happened with Phaedra is the fact that she had gotten over, as long as it's not in her face, that this is the woman that also interfered in her marriage. Regardless of whether the marriage was already on the verge of breaking apart, just you coming along, Kenya, and flirting in the manner in which you did, and bopping and popping and locking eyes with Apollo and flirting with him because you thought that you looked better. You had a better body than Phaedra, but you ain't about shit, okay? What are you really giving any man? Aside from paying his way and his rent and getting busy with him in the back of his truck. I mean, and flying off to Dubai to get a little check here and there. I mean, let's just be real about that. Kenya did concede, and I don't think that she intended to at the time, but she did say that she formally admitted that she should have stopped texting Apollo even though the texts were friendly. Girl. Millie, she said they were friendly texts. Well, how friendly were they? Were they friendly? Can you come over to my hotel room? Can you come massage? Can you come take out? Can you help me lift something out my garage? And number two, why would you be texting a married man when you know that her husband, that he's somebody's husband? First of all, I have friends that are married, that are male. Never would I call on them without talking to their wives and be like, can I use, hey Sarah, how are you? Girl, I'm in here, girl, talking about my RHOA, okay? Never would I reach out to my friends' husbands or my male friends without knowing the wife too, or them knowing who I am. Vice versa, you know, same thing. It's just one of those things, girl. Yes, my little beach waves. And so I'm just like, I don't know, because here's the thing. Kenya doesn't understand the sanctity of marriage. She's never been married. She's always desired to be married. But I think that she's one of those that also doesn't realize, like many women realize that I've talked to that have been married and some have been divorced. Marriage is work. It's not just romance. It's work. It's two people coming together, working together with different personalities, different backgrounds, different dynamics. And I think that that's one of the things that Kenya fails to realize. Okay. She was mad because Phaedra at one point accused her of being bipolar and an alcoholic. And I'm just like, you can't get mad at that because you were showing bipolar behavior. I mean, you brought Walter on and you said this was your man, that he was going to marry you. You tried to bully him into marrying you on camera. Come to find out you were paying him to be She said that Phaedra is the most boringest person on the show. And I was like, no, that would be your best bestie on the show sitting next to you. Cynthia's a sweet girl, but she's boring. I'm sorry. She's just sweet. She's sweet. And every story needs that sweet person. So I ain't taking nothing away from Cynthia. I'm just saying she boring. I mean, even when she was Peter was the most exciting person. I mean, what can you say? And so, Phaedra said, well, you can just keep screwing them boys in the back of the truck. I was like, oh, clap back game strong. I said, Phaedra, get it, come with it, Faye. I think she touched a nerve when she said that, honey. Kenya thought it was illogical to ask Phaedra's closer friends about the divorce party. But I'm like, even if Sarah, thank you. Smarter than smart. Hey, Victor. Thank you, Sarah. Cynthia is boring. And when she tried to be the mean girl, look what happened. All of us hated her. We like sweet Cynthia. She was the sugar to Nene's salt. Okay. She was the sugar and spice and everything nice. Okay. But I agree. She could have asked Porsha. She could have even asked, Candy, even if they're not close friends anymore, Candy would know better than anyone, and Porsha too, whether a divorce party would have been appropriate. Cynthia did chime in and also say, I didn't think it was appropriate, but I didn't think that it was coming from an ill place. I can see why Phaedra would think it was coming from an ill place just because of their past. And I think Phaedra had let it go. But then when she started thinking and looking and seeing this woman tracing around, excited about her separating from a man that she flirted with, I can understand where Phaedra is coming from. A lot of people gonna say that Phaedra overreacted. A little bit, yeah, but at the same time, you got to understand the history there. And I think that just woke up some feelings. It's like, oh shit, here we go again. Also, when Apollo's, because I didn't talk about this episode, but when Apollo's fiance Shireen came in, she told me, well, look here, it ain't me. And I'm just like, it don't matter. It's obvious Apollo was getting around 2 years before he went to prison. Okay? Because the girl never specified and said, but it was obvious you had been screwing around with him because you said the missus wasn't around. Space and opportunity. Kenya had it. Shireen had it. Shireen won. So there you go. And she basically was sitting there making all kinds of faces because she was getting schooled about divorce. Because Andy asked Sheree about her divorce party. And that's the difference. Case in point is this. Sheree chose to have a divorce party. No one threw her a divorce party. That's the difference. And like Sheree said, sometimes when you get in a space, when you're trying to deal with the fact that your marriage is over, it's just one of those things. You don't know how someone is going to react. And I think that's what Kenya is missing. And also just because Kenya is spiteful and evil, you always have to question, is it coming from a good place? Basically, Kenya and Phaedra are done. Okay, so I don't think that they're going to be friends. One of the funniest lines was Andy asked them would they ever pray together, and Kenya said, well, only if I got my sage on me. And Phaedra was like, well, I'm glad you got the sage on you. You have it on yourself. I was like, she needed because she evil. Anger management with Porsha. This is another subject that some people kind of like, well, Porsha and blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, no. When Kenya asked Porsha, aka the Hulk, as Andy called her, when Kenya asked her about her anger management, I didn't like it either because I knew it wasn't coming from a place of love or concern. It was coming from a place of mess is what it was. And just like the whole time Candy and confessionals and everything was making faces about Porsha having gone to anger management. Even in this episode, she said, well, it only showed on the show twice that you had been to anger management. Wait a minute. It only showed on the show twice that you'd been to anger management. I'm just like, really, Candy? You should be better than that, okay? Because let's just not talk about you and the fact that you allowed your child to be exploited this season with her debacled relationship with her dysfunctional father. Let me get off of that. So Andy asked if they were all setting on ready and what does that mean? And Candy said, if somebody jumped, that means you ready to pop that ass. I was like, oh, Lord Jesus. Porsha essentially said she was in therapy and that she's working through some things because, she's gone through marriage, a divorce. She's also had, she didn't mention it, but, Porsha at one point had been pregnant with twins. Okay, and she miscarried on those, and I don't think that people realize that miscarrying can have some effects on you in divorce, and all of this is happening. Okay, she said the only reason she flipped out is because Kenya was coming for her, and she knew that's what it was. And while she was disappointed in Phaedra, she did pick up the phone and call Phaedra and discuss with her about how she handled telling people about her anger management when she didn't ask her to. Which in some ways now I said that's probably why she told that Phaedra had been divorced, even though now Phaedra is not divorced because of the messed up paperwork she sent trying to hide from the media her formal divorce papers. Either way, they asked Kenya about provoking people. Kenya once again denied the fact that she does not provoke people because this is what she said. She made up excuses by using other people's shortcomings. She said, well, Sheree pulled Kim's wig and Porsha chased Cynthia on the boat and Phaedra threw a purse at me. And I was like, girl, but let's roll tape of all the times you provoke people. Matt even said you were manipulative and you provoke people. So girl, why you lying? Just admit it. And then when Andy asked her, did she think that her behavior towards Porsha warranted a damn apology? She said, well, looking back, I realized it wasn't the best judgment. I should stay with everybody, but I don't think it warrants an apology. I'm like, you are just one sadistic. Where did you come from? The pits of hell? I mean, are you that miserable, Kenya Moore? But I'm glad Porsha got in that ass and told her, you know what? Basically, you are an angry person. And I do believe that Kenya is angry. Kenya is a hurt person. Hurt people hurt others. And she needs to go to therapy herself to address her mommy issues, rejection issues. She needs to deal with feelings of insecurity. She needs to stop being so jaded. I mean, it just don't make any sense to be that jealous and hateful of others and throw rocks and then not expect them to come back to you. And that's why all the ladies on the other side of the sofa with Andy were like, she can dish it, but she can't take it. Throw the rock, hide your hand. That lady's nephew on vacation's biggest provoke ever. Oh, Lord. Oh. But then Kenya started feeling like she was ganged up on, and here she goes. I have suffered a verbal abuse from all the ladies except for Cynthia and Candy. They're being mean to me. I'm so nice. I'm so charitable. I don't understand why they hate me. I was like, for real, Kenya, you want us to feel sorry for you? You know what this is? You see this? You see this? This the world's smallest violin. Cry me a river, heifer. Cry me a river. Okay. So a viewer questioned Candy about her anger, and Candy said, "Don't start none, won't be none." And that's when the shit went south. Candy and Porsha got into it because Candy doesn't understand why Porsha makes up excuses for Phaedra. But one of the things that's different in this capacity is that by the time all of this had come out, Candy and Porsha were on the outs. At the beginning of the season, yes, they were in a good place, but baby, by the time they had that conversation where Porsha was trying to play peacemaker, that's when all bets were off, and Candy and Porsha were no more. Candy went in. Some people said it was inappropriate. Comment down below. Let me know if you thought it was inappropriate for Candy to mention how much she had donated for Celebrity Apprentice so that Porsha could win. Although I'm pretty sure I didn't watch the season that Porsha was on. Was it just this past season? But either way, it just was one of those things. I'm pretty sure they said how much she donated, and Porsha started crying at her, but they don't give you right to just treat somebody any kind of way just because you donated $5,000. And Candy was like, but I want you to win. And it just, it just went all bad. Next week, the discussion continues between Sheree and Kenya about the domestic violence. To me, that's another competition. Who got beat worse than the other, and who was wrong? I'm just like, domestic violence is not a laughing matter. It's nothing to be joked about or laughed at. So, ladies, just let it go. I don't know if it's this episode or another episode coming up when the whole stage just completely, everybody run off stage, folk crying and running and breasts flying everywhere. And Candy said something to Phaedra about the fact that Johnny Winston lawsuit, and Candy was, I guess Phaedra said something about, I'm an attorney, I got other things, fish to fry. She said, and Candy said something about, I guess Phaedra said something about, I guess, are you really that important to me? And Candy said, girl, hi. I was like, ooh, that's the widest she ever opened her mouth. Go ahead, Candy Burris Tucker. Okay. But anyway, that's all I got. Comment down below. Let me know what you thought about this episode. Thank you guys for joining who did join. Catch this on the playback. Okay, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Okay, Afia the Diva. Okay, get into it. No, anyway, thank you guys for joining. This has been Real Housewives of Atlanta, Part 1 reunion of Season 9. I will be back here next week for another review. Have a good night. Thank you for joining. You have been all that.